Now, I've got to be honest, I did actually record a video on this topic a few days ago, but I decided not to release it because at the time, we hadn't heard what Pokimane had to say. But now a few days have went by, we've got a few different responses from Pokimane, and it's kind of like your classic YouTuber response cycle that we kind of see pretty often. The first response is on a notes page. It seems like it was written by a PR team. Maybe it wasn't, but that's kind of the vibe it gives, you know, very professional. And then we get the second response, which is usually in the middle of a live stream or in the middle of a video, and it's just some kind of throwaway comment. But when you listen to these comments, you think, that's what you think, isn't it? That's your genuine thoughts. It's not what was on that notes page, which seems very PR driven. This is what you actually believe. And that's kind of the situation we have today. Now, if you are watching this video and you have absolutely no idea what I'm talking about, let me provide some context. So Pokimane is one of the biggest Twitch streamers. She has been for many, many years, and she's also been very, problematic throughout the years. A lot of people seem to think she's not genuine, and they have a problem with a few things that she's said in the past. I don't think I've ever spoke about her on this channel, or if I have, it's very, very little. I just don't really know that much about her. But recently, she actually launched a new business, which, let's just say, a lot of people weren't happy with. It's finally here, introducing my new company, Minus Snacks. I could never find the perfect healthy snacks that tasted good, so I made one for us. The Midnight Mini Cookies are made with real, non-GMO ingredients and added vitamin D. Treat yourself at minussnacks.com. And she actually followed on this tweet by saying, "This has been 2 years in the making and my heart is so full." This is a very, key point in the story here. My co-founder Darcy has 20 years in the snacks industry and we wanted to do everything right for you guys. The stats feel good, but the taste is even better. And she's actually included this table here which shows the comparisons between minor cookies and leading cookies, which again is quite a key part of the story here. Now, straight away, people were already criticizing the price because the cheapest batch of cookies that you can buy on the website is currently $28. This is for 4 bags, and we'll hear Pokimane over and over again say look, it's $7 per bag, it's $7 per bag. But to the best of my knowledge, the only way you can buy these cookies so far is either in quantities of 4, 8, or 12. That's personally the only ways I can see on the website, unless I'm being really stupid here, so in my opinion, the cheapest way of buying these cookies is paying $28, regardless if it's $7 a bag. And no matter which way you spin that, $28 for cookies is mental. So even though people were already annoyed about the price, people got a lot more annoyed when they found out where these cookies actually came from. Pokimane's new product is apparently just a rebranded Toti Midnight Mini Cookie, which she sells for 3 times the price. The only difference between the cookies is vitamin D free. $28 versus $10 for 400 grams. Scam question mark? And here we can see some Midnight Mini Cookies, I believe in Costco, for $10. If we look at the cookies themselves and the comparison here, we can see that they are the exact same cookie. You can tell just by the looks of it. I mean, it's literally got the exact same name, Midnight Mini Cookies, Midnight Mini Cookies. And if we look at the ingredients of both, they are pretty much the exact same, except Pokimane's cookies have vitamin D, and these Toti Midnight Mini Cookies don't. And when I say the ingredients are the same, by the way, I mean the quantities of the ingredients are identical. I mean, you can pause it right here and have a look yourself. So straight away, people are assuming that this is a white label product, right? There's a manufacturer that has created these cookies, and Pokimane's company is going to approach the manufacturer and sell their cookies, but with Pokimane's branding on it. But the only difference is Pokimane is going to sell it for an extortionate price, because she can. I mean, if we really want to compare it fairly, as we can see here, it is $10 for 14 ounces of these cookies in Costco, and Pokimane is selling 16 ounces for $28, so you get 2 extra ounces of cookies for a lot more. And when you watch Pokimane's announcement video, it does seem pretty ironic.
The fact that we can make a delicious, healthy snack, and it has functional benefits like vitamin D,
Yeah, so as you can see by the table comparison that she puts up on the screen here, you have Minus Cookies and Leading Cookies, and she does a little bit of a comparison, which, I mean, yeah, judging by this table, it does seem very good, but it kind of defeats the purpose when you realise that Minor Cookies already pretty much existed for a lot cheaper. And when I recorded my video a few days ago, this is all the information I had, because like I said, Pokimane hadn't responded yet, and my basic takeaway from that video was a bit all over the place, right? Because on one hand, I mean, it's a company, this is what companies do, they do approach manufacturers and then sell their products with their branding on, that happens all the time. But for someone like Pokimane, who has all the money in the world, it does just seem very fucking lazy. And I get it, right, there are millionaires and billionaires that own these companies that do the exact same thing, but the difference is here is that we don't know who their millionaires and billionaires are, right? We have no connection to them at all. All we see is the company name, we have no loyalty to them, we'll just buy the product if we see it and we like it. Whereas when it's an influencer, like a YouTuber or a TikToker or a Twitch streamer or whatever the fuck it is, their viewers hold these people in a very high regard. Now that in itself is already a bit of a problem, but Pokimane knows fine well that her viewers will buy anything she sells, right? She could walk out into the street, pick up some dirt and sell it. She genuinely could. So when you're in that position and you have all the fame and all the money and get all the connections you want, work with all the right people, it does just seem a bit lazy to approach a manufacturer and sell their product, especially for a really fucking high price. And as we'll see later on in this, she doesn't think it's a high price, but it is, okay? $28 for cookies is mad. And as we mentioned earlier in the video, Pokimane says she's been working on these cookies for 2 years, which I guess could be true in a sense, right? Like, if you start working on cookies 2 years ago and then you don't really talk about it or do anything with it for like a year and a half, and now you've just kind of revisited it, have you been working on it for 2 years? Does that count? But I would just like to think that if she had been working on it for 2 years, it wouldn't have ended up like this, but maybe I'm being dumb. But either way, since I recorded that video, Pokimane has responded, and this is what she had to say. The batch of minor cookies we're currently shipping were made 3 weeks ago. They are not a dropship product, and we own our formula. The cookies they are being compared to were also made by our manufacturer, Creation Foods, which specializes in healthy food. The compared cookies had 1 test batch sold before they were retired. Months later, we partnered with Creation Foods and fell in love with the flavor profile of the Midnight Cookie. We then decided to work together to refine and improve the formula, and we're really happy with the final product. While the ingredients list may look similar, they are entirely different in terms of ingredient quality, quantity, ratios, sourcing, the size/texture of the cookie, and of course the added vitamin D. Refining formulas is a very common practice in the food industry, and around 70 to 80% of the foods you see in the grocery stores are white labeled. Okay, so there's a lot of pointers to get through here. The first one being that she says the items weren't drop shipped, they were created 3 weeks ago, which, I mean, yeah, I kind of assumed that. If you don't know what drop shipping is, it tends to be when someone finds like a product on AliExpress or something like that, and then they sell it for a much higher price, and then when someone purchases the product off them, they just go to AliExpress, put in the person's shipping details, and buy it off there, if that makes sense, right? You can sell it for a lot higher. But yeah, I had no doubt that she was probably working with a manufacturer who were creating these cookies like in real time for them. But when she starts going on about the formula here and saying that even though the ingredients list may look similar, they're entirely different in terms of ingredient quality, quantity, ratio, sourcing, the size, all this stuff, I don't know, I find that a bit hard to believe. Like, yeah, the ingredients might be better quality, I don't doubt that, but I mean, if we look at the ingredients list here and we look at the measurements of everything, very, very similar, right? And when I say very similar, I mean the exact same other than the vitamin D, of course. But yeah, they might be much better quality. I haven't tried them, obviously, and if I did try them, I might think they're incredible, right? It might be the best thing I've ever tasted in my life. But still, that doesn't take away from the fact that $28 for cookies is fucking mental. That is some millionaire shit, right? That is what you would do if you were incredibly rich. If I was a millionaire, maybe I would spend $28 on cookies, but I'm not, so I wouldn't. I would much rather just go to my local supermarket and get some cookies from there that might be white label too, but they'll be a lot cheaper. And they'll still taste good. You can find plenty of healthy foods in supermarkets for a lot cheaper. I can get some fucking vitamin D tablets and I'll be completely sorted. But as I mentioned earlier, this isn't the only response that we got from Pokimane. And in fact, like most cases that we see on YouTube nowadays, we get the PR type response and then the honest response. And this clip was taken from Pokimane's livestream yesterday.
Like, oh my god, $28 for cookies? It's 4 bags. That's $7 a bag. I know math is hard when you're an idiot, but like if you're a broke boy, just say so.
Yeah, so I think it's fair to say, not the best look in the world. Now, obviously her response to this is that this was just a joke, as we'll get into in a second, and I mean, yeah, I guess a joke, yeah, fair enough, right? She is trying to be funny, but let's not sit here and pretend that this isn't actually what you think. You can see how passive-aggressive she's being, and like, if you insult somebody, and you do it in a funny way, which I guess could technically be a joke, you are still insulting them, right? So yeah, it is a joke, she's trying to do it in a funny way, but let's not sit here and pretend that this isn't her just being honest. She says, if you're a broke boy, just say so. I genuinely believe that when she saw everyone kicking off about the price, she's probably sat at home thinking, it's $7 a bag. What's all the commotion? Now, that is just an opinion. It's not based on fact at all, but that is kind of the vibe I'm getting here. And again, unless I'm being a fucking idiot, right? Like, I've clicked on shop here on the Minor website. It takes me here, and the cheapest you can get is $28. I mean, actually, you can get $25 if you do it as a membership, and you get delivered every 4 weeks. But if this is the case, you can't say that it's only $7 a bag when the cheapest way you can purchase them is paying $28. You could make anything seem cheap if you worded it like this. If I went to a fucking car garage and bought a windscreen wiper, yeah, I've bought a windscreen wiper, probably won't be that much money, but I still need a fucking car if I want to drive. I'm sure if Pokimane told us the price of one individual cookie, It's probably like 20 cents. Seems like a bargain, but you can't just buy one cookie. That's not how it works. So yeah, to me, the clip just comes off as very passive-aggressive. Also very, very out of touch. Try to say that, look, it's only $7. Like, if you're broke, just say so. Especially considering when Pokimane is in, like, PR mode, she is, like, very against this attitude, it seems. If you remember a couple of years ago, this Twitch streamer went viral because they were asking for their viewers to donate $5, and they were saying $5 isn't that much money, to which Pokimane says, if $5 is an irrelevant amount of money, then she shouldn't need the $5 from your subscription. If she argues it adds up if multiple people give $5 though, then she should realize it works the same way when it comes to spending. So she's defending the average person here, right? Saying $5 is actually quite a bit of money, but as soon as it comes to her cookies, she says it's only $7. If you're broke, just say so. Now, she has released a bit of a statement here saying, while what I said was 100% intended to be a joke, I see why it came off as insensitive and I apologize for that. I also understand the current price of the cookies may be expensive for some, and promise we'll continue to consider pricing to keep mine as affordable as possible. I also want to clarify that this was said towards one rude chatter, and I did not intend it to be a general statement or towards my community. I mean, yeah, if you call someone broke for not being able to afford something, and then the people watching your stream also think that they wouldn't be able to afford them cookies, or it would be too much for them and they can't consider spending that much money on something like cookies, and then obviously it is going to seem like a general statement, so I don't really understand that bit at all. So yeah, in conclusion, do I think this is as big of a deal as a lot of people try to make it seem? Not really. At the end of the day, she's just selling overpriced cookies, right? But it does come across as lazy and out of touch, especially the way she's responded since people have been criticizing it. But yeah, like I mentioned, it's just another influencer releasing something incredibly overpriced. It happens all the time at this point. Doesn't make it right, but I'm kind of just, I don't know, numb to seeing it now. Like, it's just not surprising. But I would love to know your thoughts down below in the comment section about this whole situation. Everything I mentioned in this video, let me know in the comments. And yeah, if you did enjoy, please leave a like down below, subscribe if you are new, and until the next one, I'll see you guys in a bit, alright? Goodbye.